Good morning, all you members, subscribers, watchers, viewers. This is Sandy, suburban homesteader, Wyoming, Arizona, and I'm just about to go teach art class, but I thought I would work on my video that comes out today. And I've been making a lot of hats, and I've been adding appliques, some new appliques to them. Look at this one I found right here. Is that cute? It's gonna go on a hat. Yay! I have like 45 hats that I've made, besides the ones I've given away. I do love making hats. Another thing that I've been making, and I've talked about it a little bit, are some new Christmas cards. Now, these are quilted Christmas cards. I was going to make them into postcards, but then I decided I'd rather do them in Christmas cards. So they're quilted. I added ribbon, buttons. I added it inside last night. Comes with its own envelope. I'm going to have them in a craft show. But the idea of having a quilted card versus just a regular card that people are going to throw away, I thought they could actually even just put this out each year. Kind of exciting. It's been a busy week. I'm going to show you some English muffins that I made. I'm going to go quickly through the whole steps of what I did. The English muffins are sourdough, and I make sourdough stuffed pancakes, and in fact, I'm going to put up, in this video, I'm going to put up my recipe that I use out of a book, the best sourdough pancakes ever. I mean, seriously, ever. And you really won't know that they're sourdough. They won't taste sharp. They are just fabulous. I'm also going to, when I'm doing the English muffins, I'm going to just go step by step, but a quick video about that. And they were spectacular. I don't think Joe's ever going to let me ever buy English muffins at the store again. I had a part-time job for 4 days, waitressing. It was okay. Will I do it longer? Not sure about that. I'm back and forth on it. One, it takes up a lot of my time, and I have to get up at 4:15 in the morning. That's an issue for me. It's one thing getting up at 4 o'clock in the morning in the summertime, going out in your yard when the sun is just coming up. That's one thing. That's a totally different thing. But, I'm also going to show you my lemon trees and how they've been growing. I started them from seed after I got back here from Arizona. And actually, this summer I started them. I guess I had them for a while before I actually started them. And so that's kind of fun. I'll show you all that. And I planted some strawberry seeds, and they are up. I also planted some African violet seeds, but they are not up yet. First, let's go make some English muffins. Now, English muffins that you buy in the store are a sourdough. So we're going to start with a half a cup of sourdough starter, 1 cup of whole milk. You could use a different kind of milk. A half a cup of water, 4 tablespoons of butter, 2 tablespoons of sugar, 1 tablespoon of salt, and 4 to 4.5 cups of flour. Now, I don't care for cornmeal, so I am going to use ground almonds instead, and I'll show you when I add those. So the first part, I'm just mixing together. I'm going to mix all the ingredients except for the ground almonds and the flour first. And though you only saw me put in 2 tablespoons of butter, I actually put in the whole 4 of them. I'm going to mix that and incorporate that quite well. Now the first 2 cups are pretty easy to mix in. But after that, it starts getting thicker. But that's okay. It makes a beautiful, soft dough. It's not too hard. It's not too stiff. Much looser than, a piece of salt there, much looser than a sourdough bread recipe. So I'm going to get that mixed up as much as I can with the whisk, and then I'm going to do the rest of it by hand. And so there's 3 cups in there right now. I'm going to put the 4th cup onto my pastry. sheet and then just mix all those in there. So you can tell right now it's really pretty sticky. But I'm going to need that for about 8 minutes and it will all incorporate that in there. I always say 4 to 4.5. So if you need to add a little more flour, feel free to add a little bit more flour. Now that has to rest for 8 to 10 hours. I'm going to put it back in that bowl that I mixed it up and throw a cloth over top of it. After the 8 to 10 hours, I'm going to spread that out. I'm not going to use a rolling pin. I'm just going to spread it with my hands. I want it to be about 1 inch thick. And then I'm going to use my biscuit cutter. From this dough recipe, I should be able to get 8 English muffins plus a little bit extra. And that little extra one I'm just going to use as my tester. Now I have a cookie sheet with parchment. I'm going to sprinkle my ground almonds on there. This is where you could use cornmeal. And I'm going to set all of my English muffins on there. And then it has to go through a process of resting again. Depending on the temperature of your kitchen, 1 to 2 hours. You don't bake these. You're actually going to cook them in your skillet. So I'm using my cast iron skillet. It has warmed up to medium low before I put them in there. And on each side, it's going to be 8 to 10 minutes. If your stove runs a little bit hotter, I would turn the temperature down a little bit. But you want to make sure 8 to 10 minutes on each side. It's not going to burn. Don't worry about that. But we actually need a temperature of about 200 degrees. So I'm just going to use my temperature gauge. I'm going to point it right in the center of the English muffin. And I want it to stay at about 200 degrees. And as long as it does that, they are ready to take off. And I can fit 4 of them in my cast iron skillet at a time. And they're just going to go onto the cooling racks. And then I'll bag them up later. So they're a great sourdough English muffin. Let's look at some lemon trees. These are ones I started from seed. I'm actually going to take them back to Arizona in January, and I'll plant them where they can get some water continuously. And actually, I'm just going to give them to some of my friends that want some lemon trees. Most of these are Myers or Ponderosa lemons, which are a fabulous lemon. These are my alpine strawberries I started. They just are getting their second leaf on there. So that's exciting. They're going to Arizona too. Now there's snowmen made out of rocks, but I am going to ask you a favor. I need to know, should I use branches for arms? Should I use pipe cleaners that maybe match the little colors of the presents? I could do that for arms. Or should I just leave them with no arms at all? They're white rocks that I painted on. It's got a knitted hat. The scarf of the snowmen is actually just yarn, but I love them. And here's another look at all of those 18 quilted Christmas tree cards that I did. Every single one of them is different. They have different amounts of packages. Some have stars, some don't have stars. I just think they're just a great Christmas card for the season. Just an update, all of my amaryllises that I planted have leaves coming up. One actually has a flower.
Well, I hope that inspired you to do something else with your sourdough. A lot of times all we do is make bread. But try some pancakes. Try some English muffins. We actually had used the English muffins yesterday, and I sliced up a steak that we had for supper, and we had some extras, so I sliced that all up and had some cheese on it, so it was like a steak sandwich. That was really good. So you can just do so many things with sourdough. The days are shorter. The temperatures are dropping. So let's do some comfort stuff. This is Sandy, Suburban Homesteader, Wyoming, Arizona. I'll see you next time.